Assalamu alaikum. Real Madrid 1 and Benfica 0. Before I get into this game, I probably sound a little different. If not, I sound congested. And it's because I am congested. I am sick. As you guys know, in the East, the cold has hit us, and now I'm sick. So just wanted to clarify that before I get into the whole match review. But honestly, just talk about purely just about Real Madrid's performance. Obviously, it's not the best. I want to say it was good either. The only thing that was probably good is just the way Vinícius Jr scored that amazing golazo from almost outside the box. It was still inside the box, but the angle was very hard for anybody to finish it. And that was probably the only thing that was good that happened in this game. But whoever watched the match, whoever saw that controversy that happened, that racial slur that was being said to Vinícius from this player that I just, I kind of forgot about. I don't even know his name until now, and that's now how he's going to be known as, the guy who made a racial slur or who said a racial slur to Vinícius Jr. PRISTIANNI, if I'm saying his name correctly, which is disgraceful. I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to talk more about it, but I just want to go step by step just to talk about the first half and then in the second half. Now, the first thing that I did want to talk about is, we really struggle with ball possession, and I've spoken with other people who've watched Real Madrid, in the past, or who've known Real Madrid's history, and they've said in general that Real Madrid is not known for holding ball possession. They are known for their magic moments, for those miracle moments to happen. That's what Real Madrid is known for. And listen, I'm all in for it, right? But to some extent, I feel like possession really matters. And when we did have the ball, whether it's in the first half or whether it's in the second half, we barely did anything with the ball. For example, whenever Vinícius had the ball, whenever Mbappe, whenever we're bringing the ball up, whenever we're in a counterattack, we just bring it back and just start playing slow. We start passing slow. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't care about how they played 70 years ago compared to now. In today's game, I feel like ball possession really matters, and it really matters to the point where you could probably only have the ball for one play, and that one play really matters. For example, that Vinícius goal, it really mattered because without that goal, without that ball possession, it was going to be tied up heading into the Bernabeu, the second leg. So that's something that I didn't like about Real Madrid's game today, or their game plan. But like I said, right, I don't even know if they even have a game plan, because the way they're playing, the way Arbeloa seems to have his tactics is totally up to the players, however they want to play. It's like, they're adults now, so they know what to do. That's kind of how I see Arbeloa's ball is, or Ancelotti ball. I feel like it's the same thing, as long as you're controlling the egos, which is what Bale said in an interview about nobody can really coach Real Madrid, just controlling the egos, which made sense why Xabi Alonso, or maybe Perez didn't see Xabi Alonso as a fit, maybe why Xabi Alonso couldn't coach this team, even though he did play for this team at some point in his career. So, yeah, that's something that I just wish we could change. And the first thing that I did want to talk about is, obviously we know our forwards are Mbappe and Vini, right? But their playing style is very contradicting in a way where, how do I say it? I want to word it in a good way. The way they attack is that they want to create their own goals, because as we know, they're natural wingers, right? Mbappe, Vinícius in Flamengo, and then now he's in Real Madrid. They get the ball a little deep and they want to progress the ball themselves. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. In the team aspect, it is a bad thing, because number one, we need a poacher, right? And the fact that we signed Mbappe to play that striker role, which, he's supposed to fill in that Benzema gap, has not played in our favor. And this game really showed it to me. And it's basically because Mbappe doesn't really know how to position himself as a pure number 9 striker. Now, we know he's a winger, whether he's on the right side or on the left side. Vinícius Jr., same thing. But when you look at Benzema, who played at the striker position, you can see he doesn't really come back and create his own goal. He's just there at the right moment, at the right time, waiting at the position that he's at. Where if you look at this game, right, if you look at Vinícius, if you look at Mbappe, right, where they're supposed to kind of play right next to each other, and maybe it's supposed to be Vinícius who progresses the ball, right? But Vinícius struggled, right, to bring up the ball, but not even that. Mbappe also was in the back with Vinícius and waiting for the ball, not making runs to get past the defenders. So it's very hard for us to get goals that way. Because when we have both Vinícius and Mbappe waiting to get the ball because they want to progress the ball themselves, I think that's going to cause huge issues in terms of getting goals and in terms of scoring. Because with the quality that we have, whether we have a manager or not, we are supposed to get winning results and in a dominant fashion no matter what. That's just the truth. When you look at these names on paper, we are supposed to get wins no matter how you look at it. We're supposed to get goals no matter how you look at it. We got a lot of goal scorers just by this sheet right here without even having Bellingham on the team. And I've been saying it. It's very hard to have both wingers, especially like Vinícius and Mbappe, playing next to each other, especially when one is not playing as that number 9 striker. Because if they want to play like that, then I would say start Gonzalo as a striker and put Mbappe at the right wing position and put Vinícius on the left wing position, because that is going to fulfill whatever they want to do, and that's going to fulfill the team's purpose, because then we're going to have Gonzalo Garcia who's going to be dragging in these defenders in the box, or if he's not dragging, he's going to be open in the middle for a pass from Vinícius or Mbappe from the right or left. So that is something that I noted that is very important for us, is that Mbappe and Vini really got to, I would say, like, not change their whole entire playing style, but they have to know how to adjust. For example, if Vinícius has the ball, right, Mbappe knows to drag defenders away from Vinícius, not just stay back and then everybody is perfectly lined up, like the Benfica players are perfectly lined up. They don't have to make adjustments. And Mbappe is right here waiting for the ball, and Vinícius is over here. And then the whole empty side is like, the whole middle is just empty. When you look at our game, when we had Xabi Alonso, you can see he was very strict with the way he wanted his players to play. Mbappe, he was sticking strictly in the middle under Xabi Alonso. And now when you look at him, he's like drifting all around the pitch, and not even that. When Vinícius is progressing the ball, Mbappe is not there waiting for the cross, dragging defenders away, maybe baiting himself. Like, it really matters, especially when you're playing in a tough competition like the UCL. If you're playing in La Liga, against any team in general, it's very important to have that number 9 for multiple roles, especially off the ball. So, very important. I think this is very important moving forward. You know, we have the lead in La Liga. We have an advantage going into the second leg, and if we're looking to score more goals, I think that is something that they have to work on and they have to fix. The second point that I did want to mention is that when we're attacking, we have no organization, even when we're defending. For example, I put Mbappe and Vinícius, they're either together or too spread apart to the point where there's nobody in the middle. We have to wait for Arda, who's a midfielder, to make the run in the middle, where he was not doing it. Valverde as well. It was just so unorganized the way I saw this game. And especially when Benfica was pressing, it was very hard for us to even get the ball from our own half to the second half or to the other half. Not even that. Whenever Vinícius had the ball, it was easy for them to read him. It just, Real Madrid, right? I'm happy that we got the win, because I'm going to talk about this probably in my second point after this point. I'm happy that we got the win for one reason only. But the way we played cannot be repeated in the second leg. Not even that, it cannot be repeated in La Liga, our next match game or match day, because any team could torture us. That's what I could say. They could torture us the way we played today. But I'm not going to say we all played horribly, right? I'm looking at the ratings, and I do agree with a lot of them. For example, Trent did his role. Huijsen, Courtois made huge saves. Rudiger also did good. Paredes. Everybody, in my opinion, did good. I just feel like that we could have done much better. We could have done much better, especially against a team like Benfica. Like, really against a team like Benfica, who really don't have any strength besides playing like they have nothing to lose. We were supposed to dominate them from left to right. But it just depends on the game plan. And like I said, Arbeloa, I don't know if he even has a game plan, because it's up to the players. They're adults. That's his ideology. Probably that's his mindset. That's Real Madrid's mindset. They're all adults. Somebody just got to manage their egos, and then they do whatever the hell they want. So we just got to wait and see what happens in the second leg, especially this weekend in the next La Liga match. And I did list this. I feel like I don't even have to speak about it. I kind of touched base on it. But the only link-up play that we saw was when Camavinga passed to Paredes to Vini, and Vini backheeled it to Mbappe, where Mbappe missed with a left foot shot. That was the only link-up play that I seen in this game. The only link-up play that led to a dangerous attack. Other than that, if you guys noticed this whole entire game, and go back and watch the match highlights, it's been all individual plays. For example, individual plays in terms of bringing the ball up by themselves, maybe making a pass before bringing the ball themselves, or if they can't bring the ball themselves, if they can't bring up the ball themselves, or they can't bring up the play, whatever, they can't attack by themselves, they have to pass it backwards. Once again, I'm sick. I can't even talk worse than how I'm usually am. But like I said, it's very unorganized. I don't know what the game plan is. I don't know what everybody's position truly is, right? The only people that I saw organized was our back line besides Trent, because Trent usually drifts into the midfield and Valverde and him switch along. But everybody else is just like roaming around. They switch positions and whatnot. Like Benfica had a lot of chances as well, which we're lucky that they missed. So honestly, I don't know. I don't know if this team is going to improve or if this team is going to stick to this playing style and just hope for the best. But like I said, Vinícius Jr., amazing goal. And if it wasn't for that goal, we would have been tied up and we would have been into, we would have played the second leg and have to chase for something. At least now we could kind of relax a little bit. But as we know, with Jose Mourinho, with Benfica, they're going to play like they have nothing to lose. Now, I'm going to spend the rest of this video speaking about something very serious, and it's about the racial slur that PRISTIANNI, whatever his name is, said to Vinícius Jr. So if you guys want to skip, you guys can skip this part. But not just in football, but around the world, racism is not allowed and is never okay, especially when you have image to yourself, when you're a professional, when you have kids, adults, elderly look up to you, because that happens a lot, especially in sports. It's never okay. And the thing that bothered me the most, that like actually angered me, is the fact that Vinícius Jr., right, as much of a provocative player that he is, the way he provokes, right, he's never making comments in terms of being racist, in terms of attacking somebody's mother, somebody's family member, right? Players, footballers around the world, they provoke. But something about Vinícius Jr. just bothers everybody whenever he provokes. Whenever he does something, it just bothers everybody like 10 times more. And I don't want to say it, but it's pretty obvious why it's Vinícius Jr. They don't want to say, they say, oh, it's not because of that, it's not because of that. We all know why Vinícius Jr. is the one being targeted. We all know why. And we all stand with Vinícius Jr., whether he's provoking or whether he's not. Because, like I said, we should not have racism for anything. There's no excuse to be racist. No excuse, especially, right? Because I'm not thinking about anything else, but especially playing in a game where you're playing for your team, you're representing your club, your country, your family, right? PRISTIANNI bothered me a lot when he said that comment about Vinícius Jr. And what bothered me a lot is the fact that he covered his mouth while saying it, thinking that it was funny or thinking that he was never going to get caught, right? People want to go and say Vinícius is a crybaby. Somebody wants to go say, oh, Vinícius, just take it, let it fuel you up. That is never okay. Because like I said, it's not like they're like us where we're like, normal, friend to friend, whatever it may be. They have an image to themselves. And what Vinícius is doing is the right thing, because if he just stays quiet, accepting all these racist comments, racist slurs that's happening to him, it's going to be so normal to the point where those fans, that specific player, PRISTIANNI, is going to go say to other people, right? Racism is never okay, and it bothered me a lot that he didn't get a red card for it, or at the very least even get a booking for it, because that is something that's very dangerous, probably one of the most dangerous things that's not physical. And I'm glad that Vinícius continued to play. I'm glad that the ref took action, because there's Benfica fans, players that try to defend him and try to tell Vinny to ignore it. Jose Mourinho probably was telling Vinny to not let it get into your head. Like I said, not everybody's the same. It bothers Vinny a lot, especially since he gets it a lot in La Liga. And now he's in a whole different country and it's happening to him in Benfica, especially from another professional, right? A professional that's supposed to be a professional, and he still said it to him. It's not okay. Not okay at all. And that's something that really upset me. I'm happy that Vinícius is the one that scored, and I was hoping that he scored again, right? But also, the way he celebrated, I'm not sure why he got a yellow card for that. Anybody could have done that celebration, and I think they wouldn't have gotten that yellow card. I think, like I said, Vinícius done it. He did it. So everybody's going to say that he deserved the yellow card. is provocative. Vinícius Jr. just last game when he scored, he was dancing exactly the same way. So I don't get it. I don't know what's going on, but I stand with Vinícius Jr. Even though there's times where I do want him to calm down, but this time right here, like I said, racism, nobody should calm down when it happens to them. Nobody. And I'm glad that he stood up for himself. And I don't know if the player apologized, which I think even the apology shouldn't be accepted because he kind of did it on purpose. He planned it. He covered his mouth to do it. So very, very unfortunate that this happened because we had an additional 12 minutes. I feel like it ruined a lot of the momentum of the game for both Benfica and Real Madrid. So I just hope it never happens again. I hope that the referee takes a more, or the game in general, not the referee, and the game in general just evolves to the point where like comments like this don't slip and there's a harsher punishment for somebody saying something like that because, like I said, when it's happening a lot, especially to Vinícius Jr., maybe throughout his whole life, he's been getting called these type of racial slurs. It's very sad to think about it because, yes, it's Vinny. He provokes a lot, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, he's still human. He's not violently attacking anybody. Everybody provokes one another. People provoke fans, even Cristiano Ronaldo. So just because Vinícius is Vinícius doesn't give you the right to just get mad at him because he does something, even though other players done it or do it, right? So that's all I just wanted to say. But let me know your opinions about this game below in the comments. What'd you think about Benfica's performance? What'd you think about Real Madrid's performance? And were you surprised? Because like I said, I was expecting Real Madrid to, at the very least, score a goal and hold on to the goal until the second leg. So this is something that went according to what I was thinking. But let me know what you guys think. Put it in the comments below. Thank you very much for everybody who likes, comments, and especially subscribes. But a lot of you guys are not subscribed. So if you happen to stop by and you're not subscribed, make sure that you do. It's for free. And it wouldn't harm you, not even a single bit. Thank you very much. And until then, Assalamu alaikum.